Alright, so I want to share some tips with you on how I do a few things that can really help you throughout your installation. Now right now, this situation that we're in, we're coming out of a living room that we've already installed out into a hallway. Now this is something that you can do, what I'm showing you here, when you're going into other rooms, whether it be a dining room, a kitchen, bedrooms, closets, other hallways, living rooms, family rooms. Pretty much I use this throughout the entire process when I'm installing plank throughout a house. Now what you see me here doing here is I'm marking these boards for the cuts. You can see I don't use a tape measure at all. I'll talk to you about this a little bit more later on here in the video. This is a great tool to use to add to your arsenal while you're installing. Makes it really simple to figure out all of your cuts and make them perfect and get professional results when you're done. Now I'm installing the plank. I'm going to start putting it together, getting it positioned so that it's nice and straight. You can see I use this little tapping block here. Now I use a couple of different types of tapping blocks. That just happens to be one of them that I'm using in this situation. Has a little bit more finesse, doesn't damage the plank. Really a nice little handy tool that my son-in-law shared with me. Now I'm just going to get this floor nice and straight, get it into position. I'm going to screw it down into the floor. Now this is an important step, and I'm going to show you how to do this to make sure you get it perfectly straight. You can see how nice this is. Now this is better than those little spacers because it actually is going to stop the floor from moving. It won't move at all. You can see how solid all of this is now. Alright, so I have a situation here where we're ready to come out into this hallway, and I want to show you what I'm going to do here to make sure that I get this plank straight. I want to snap another line out here, a new line. And so I'm just putting the tape measure on top of the locking system against the plank. Now I could put it against the locking system, but sometimes those get bent and they might go off a little bit. So just to make sure, let's just get it up on top. Now this can be any amount of a measurement that you want. I'm just going to go at 2 feet. I'm going to make a mark there. I'm going to come down here on the other side. I'm going to make another mark right here. Now what our goal is that we're trying to do is snap a line from here to out here so that we have a reference line. Now I'm going to show you, because trying to snap this line from here to here is a little bit long. It's not anything that I don't think that we could do, but I'm going to show you a little trick that you can do to make sure you get this straight from down here to down there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this screw and I'm going to stick it right in the center of this line and screw it down into the floor. Now I'm not going to screw it in all the way. I'm going to leave it out a little bit. Now I'm going to take a string line here and I tied a loop in the end of it. So I'm going to hook this string line up to this screw. And now I'm going to stretch it down here. And I'm going to get the string line over that other mark that we just made perfectly. Now that I have it under there, now I'm going to take my marker. I'm going to slide that string over and make a mark underneath it perfectly. See where I did that? Now it's lined up on that mark right there. Right there. And I have it lined up on this mark down here. And we know it's lined up on that mark right there because we put the screw in the floor. Pull this screw out. And I'm going to put it down here in the center of this mark right here now. And screw it back in. Now I'll take the string line right here and I'll hook it onto the screw right there. Make a mark. Now a quick little tip here about using string lines and chalk lines is if you just wrap that around your finger a couple times and then you pull tight, then you can use your thumb to hold it. So like right here is where I want it to be. I just wrap it around twice, pull tight, have my thumb there. I'm pulling super tight now and it's holding, it's not loose, it's not hurting. Just a quick tip. Okay, so on the string line it's got this metal piece, right? And it's angled, goes into a point. This is how you can snap a line by yourself. I like to pick it up and wiggle it a couple times, make sure it's not stuck on anything. Pull up, snap. Now I know some of you from the other side of the country here say pop, but here in northern Minnesota, we snap a chalk line, we don't pop it. So now I'm going to take some scrap pieces, I'm just going to stick them in here and I'm going to hook them onto this floor. Just to get enough to come across. I could have maybe put almost a full piece in there, but now I'm going to hook on this to this. But what's important is I want to make sure wherever I line this butt joint up, that it doesn't line up with the butt joint in any of these last few rows. Okay, this was a full piece, so I don't have a butt joint there, so I don't have much to worry about. Now I'm just going to hook on. To be able to cut this piece that goes in right here, you can see how I have the factory edge right here. This is the groove. Is all I need to do is take a piece and reverse it so that the groove is facing the other way. So here's the groove facing the same way. If I flip it around now and I have the tongue facing up that way, now I have this piece against the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this plank then right here where the locking system ends, and that's going to give me the proper expansion joint. So now I'm just going to take my knife and score a couple times and just snap it right off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to check and make sure all of this is straight. But we want to come right here where it is connected and measure to see what that distance is. It's about 5 5/16. So now we want to go through and get all of this plank at 5 5/16. Now I'll just take my cheater board and I'll mark all of this out. You can see how I brought my cheater board past the corner right here. Now I'm just going to mark this board. Now I made sure when I cut this board that this is perfectly square with the locking system. Now many of you have seen me use the bigger tapping block. I also really like this one. It depends on the kind of plank that you're using. This one's more of a finesse kind of tapping block, so I will leave a link for this. I like it because it's a little easier to use, harder to damage the plank. So this is another good choice to have for a tapping block. So now I want the rest of this, because this moves. You can see how it moves. I want to get the rest of that at 15 inches and have it hold in place, but I don't like to use those little spacers. What I like to do is I like to take a scrap, put it in right on the seam there, get it up tight against the wall. Now I'm going to pre-drill through the scrap, through the plank, into the subfloor. Now it's nice and tight. Now I'm wrecking the scrap here, not the plank underneath, and you can see it's not moving now. Now you can see this floor isn't going to go anywhere, and we have it nice and secured. Okay, so I know some of you are asking, Joe, what about concrete? Well, I'm on concrete. How do I do that? Well, this is a drill that I have. Now, this is a cordless Milwaukee drill. Has a hammer drill selection on it. You can also buy a hammer drill from, well, Harbor Freight Tools, for example, I know has one like for 25 bucks. You can buy a hammer drill and drill with a hammer drill instead. And then what you'd want to do is use one of these kinds of screws. This is called a Tapcon. It's a small screw. It's only about an inch, inch and a quarter maybe. You can also get it with a different head on it, like a hex head. This is a Phillips. Hard to find them with Torx, but when you sink this in, don't try to over tighten it. This is a nice big shank, so if you just get it snug in there, then you won't have to worry about breaking this screw. You can break this if you over torque it, so just be careful when you're doing that, but that is what you can do with that. Now I will leave a link down below so that you can check out the Tapcon screws. If you buy some Tapcon screws from wherever you want to get them, Home Depot, Lowe's or whatever, if you buy a pack of them, it usually comes with the drill bit, so you're all set up, ready to go. By the way, I love this Milwaukee hammer drill. I'm a Milwaukee guy. I mean, I've been through DeWalt, Ridgid, all those, and Milwaukee has just been super good for me. I haven't had any issues with any of them. All right, let's talk about the cheater board, how to make a cheater board. Now this has the locking system on it on both sides, the groove and the tongue. I just cut the groove off. Now I leave the tongue on because that's part of what I'm using then for my expansion joint. And then when I have my marker, let me grab it. Sorry guys. So if you put your marker up alongside, now by the time you get your marker alongside there with that tongue left on, then you're gonna have a good expansion joint. You're gonna end up having an 1/8 inch plus. But if you wanna make your expansion joint a little bit bigger, you can just leave more of the groove on. I cut it flush with the edge here. I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about. Now you can see how I kind of cut it flush. I would have used something better to make it nice and straight if I was going to be using this. I'm just showing you how you can just shave it right off. But maybe you only want to shave a little bit off of this so that you can keep your expansion joint a little bit bigger if you're concerned about it. Now I'm not concerned about it. It's a vinyl plank. It's never going to really move too much. As long as you have an 1/8 inch expansion joint, you're going to be fine. I know some of you are installers out there are going to say, no, Joe, but yes, an 1/8 inch is plenty with vinyl plank. Anyway, so that's what you would do. All right, well, I have lots of other videos out there on my channel if you want to go and check them out about vinyl plank. I'm going to be putting up tons more here in the future, so be sure to check out my channel. Hit the subscribe button so you can find those, and the notification, the bell right there will notify you when I put out new videos. Hey, if you liked this video, would you please hit that like button? I really appreciate it. My name is Joe Latender. I appreciate you, and I just want to pray that things are going good for you in your life, that your projects are going good, that you and your family are blessed, that you get through this project easily and problem-free. And I pray for that in Jesus' name. If you have any questions, check out the comments below and leave one there. I'll answer it for you. God bless you. Have a great day.